What's going on, guys? So today we are out here at the Black Series camper, the HQ19. This is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous travel trailer with tons of capabilities, and I'm here to kind of point out the things so far that we love about this unit and some of the things that we think might have been able to be done a little bit different or better. So hang tight, I think you're going to enjoy this video. Okay, so believe it or not, we've had an opportunity to use this camper 5 times so far. Every time so far, we've taken it out to Padre Island. One time we took it out to the Padre Island National Seashore, and I almost got stuck. But it is a wonderful camper. We've had a lot of fun with it. But with everything, there's always room for improvement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start from the front, work my way to the back, and we're going to talk about some of those areas that are great and some things that I could recommend doing a little different, including this door right here. Okay, starting from the very front, I really wish that there was an optional coupler, normal coupler that you could put up here instead of the poly block. I get the function of the poly block, but again, I would venture to say half the folks who buy one of these Black Series would prefer a standard coupler because they don't plan on taking this into an area or an environment that would be so extreme that you need the poly block. So what would be really nice is if you simply have the option, and it may even be a lower cost option since couplers typically cost less than something like a poly block assembly, and it's more universal with your truck, meaning you don't need to have an adapter on your truck to make it work. That being said, a pro or a plus to this, and this is primarily because of the relatively lightweight of this trailer and the fact that they use this really cool wheeled flip-up jack, is the fact that once you back up to it, you don't have to be as precise as I thought. If you don't have your tires chalked, you can actually manhandle and muscle this thing around a little bit to drop the pin in, which I've found to be actually pretty easy now that I've used it for a little while. So as difficult as it might be to line your truck perfectly over that hole and drop the pin in, I actually don't think most people would be able to do it on the first, second, or even third attempt. Once you get very close, which is easy to do, you can kind of move it around yourself. It doesn't actually take much effort. I'm moving it about 3/4 of an inch side by side right now just by rocking it. So again, this became much easier to use once I figured out some best practices on how to use it. Now the next one, and this is again a love-hate thing, it comes with shackles to connect to the back loops on your truck. I don't like the shackles. It adds time, it adds a bit of complexity to getting them connected to your truck. I went on Amazon and I simply purchased these 3/8 inch 18,000 pound rated hooks, and I attached them to the end. So now I'm using these to connect it to the hoops on the back of my truck to chain it in place. Much easier, much quicker. Again, the shackles are cool. Overkill, don't really need them. These are going to work really well, and these are actually more overkill than the shackles probably are. Plus they pin in place as opposed to screw in place, and they lock in perfectly. So that's an upgrade I've done. Massive chains, that's a big plus. I love the parking brake. The parking brake is a great option. Now, how strong the parking brake is, I really don't know, right? I don't know if this is designed to keep your RV from rolling down a hill if you're on a big steep hill, but it certainly keeps it stationary enough that if you're hitching up, again, because of how precise you need to be, that it's not going to allow the trailer just to roll around as easy. So I do enjoy having a parking brake. I think that's a cool enough feature that it would be interesting if, you know, your standard RV manufacturers would put something similar to that on their trailers. I like the flip-up jack. This actually works really well. It's super quick. It has a removable handle for security reasons, which is also really nice. Once it's flipped up, it does stick off the side a little bit, but what I've noticed is the A-frame up front is a bit narrower than you would typically see on a traditional, conventional trailer. So it really doesn't stick off the side as much as you might think. And, you know, your typical A-frame actually cuts out a little bit more than this. So that is really nice. This tongue jack, we haven't used yet. It's an electric tongue jack. It doesn't seem as if it goes down far enough. I've heard feedback that it actually doesn't go down at its full height. You're still about a foot off the ground. I don't know if it's needed. It's cool to have it. I mean, you definitely want to throw a big block under there, like an Anderson block or something that you can use to give you the height you need to actually use that. But I don't necessarily know or believe if that's something you absolutely need on this trailer because you already have this one right here. The auxiliary power right here for solar and all that. I like these quick connects. They work good for battery quick connects, but for a trailer like this, you really want the standardized solar type plug if that's what the main intention of this is for, so you can connect solar to your trailer without any type of an issue. I love the front frame section, that it's boxed and it's hot dip galvanized. That's really nice. You know, when you look at where everything is mounted, everything is incredibly beefy, and I really like that. I do wish that these two front storage areas had locks on them. So of all the exterior storage, these are the only ones that don't have a lock, and it would have been nice if they did. Now here's a pretty interesting gripe. Speaking of locks, you have these really interesting locks all the way around. You have a lock on the front door, you have locks everywhere. That's what your keys for this unit look like. Yeah, there's some duplicates in here, but there are a ton of keys. I really wish they would figure out a way to make all the locks the same, basically key everything the same, or even just maybe two keys. They have a really nice lock for the main door, but then almost everything out here uses a different style of lock. These use the same key, but when you get back here, these use a different key. When you get around to the other side, they use a different key. When you look at your fills and your drains, they also use a different key. So it can get kind of confusing, especially if you're trying to grapple for your keys at night to find the right key for the right spot. And I really do wish that they would kind of make everything universal, which can be difficult because some of the equipment itself, the lock is designed as part of it, and you know, you just have to deal with the key that you got from that manufacturer. Now, stepping back, I like the diamond plate effect here. I know some folks prefer your standard kind of US style diamond plate like you see on my Texas Pride trailer here, but I like this because I found it deflects things a little better, and if you dent it, it doesn't show a dent as easy because you have far more of the diamond plate little notches all around it. So I like it. You know, I don't think that it's either here or there in terms of opinion. You may not like it, you may like it, but let me know what your feedback is on the diamond plate design. I think it looks pretty good, actually. The aluminum that they use all the way around this unit is also really nice. I know some people commented on adhesive issues and things like that. I personally haven't seen any, and right now it is baking out here in the hot Texas sun, as am I, and everything's held onto it really well. It has probably the coolest, most aggressive off-road look I've seen of just about any travel trailer, at least that you can buy here in the States. You know, Australia is a whole different animal in terms of some of the stuff they put out there, but this to me is absolutely the most gorgeous off-road, you know, manly looking travel trailer you can get here in the States. I really like these windows. I mean, I really like these windows, but what I don't like about them is if you have the windows open on both sides, and if you have this kind of radiant screen down and the wind catches it, so basically if the other one's down and this window's open, the wind can kind of blow into it and make it difficult to lower and raise. It's a problem you don't really deal with here in the US with the windows we have. At the same time, though, the functionality of this window is superior to just about any window offered on an RV here in the States. Now here's something interesting, this light right here. So this is a solar charged light. It's kind of disconnected from the entire system because it simply has a battery in it and it's powered with this little panel on top. And then you have an on-off button right here, and it works when it gets dark. I love this, and the reason why I love this is because whenever you shut the main power off to this unit, let's say you're going to leave a campground or you're going to hitch it up, all the power shuts off, you have no light out here. But if you need to find your key to open the door, you turn this on, it illuminates this nice little swath, and you can find the right key to get into it. Personally used it for that a couple times now. The screen door here is very cool. I love having this metal kind of gate look across the whole thing. It actually comes in really handy. The door itself is really good, and check this out. This is something I really like. Watch. It closes so easy. A lot of doors here in the US, you see problems with closing on RVs. They just don't close that well, and they don't open that well. This one does a very good job. And speaking of keys, I'll only show you a brief glimpse of it here real quick, but the front entry exit door has a much more secure method of keying than you would typically see on RVs that you would normally go to a dealership lot and find. I love the grab handle. I like the electric step. I don't really see a problem with it. It does hang a bit low, so it would absolutely encounter something before the rock slider does. It would have been nice if the rock slider kind of reached down right here, just in case you hit something, you realize it before you hit the side of the step assembly and possibly break it off or damage it. I do wish that they incorporated a friction hinge door in, because this door just kind of swings wildly. It would be really nice to have a friction hinge door, even though it uses this really cool cool door catch mechanism that works really well when the door is open, but if it gets really windy, the wind can catch it and still close it. So a friction hinge would be a really low cost feature to add. This is your 12-volt connection and then your power connection here. No problems with any of that. This table right here flips down. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Again, I had to fumble through a bunch of keys to find the actual key for this specific table, but this is just a table. This peels off and it's protected on both sides, and at first I thought, well, is this a place for a TV? I really didn't know what this was, and then I had to kind of figure it out. But yeah, it's just kind of a little table, and when you have the outside kitchen out, it works pretty good. Don't have any real issues with any of that. We'll close that up in a second. Coming around this way, we haven't used the jack legs here on the back or the front for that matter, because every time we've used it, we just kept it hooked up to the truck. There's really no point in us disconnecting it because we didn't leave it somewhere long enough that we needed to disconnect it. We stayed overnight a couple times, but again, we just kind of kept it connected to the truck. And because we're so close to home, we allowed folks to actually come out and we could use their vehicles if we needed to run any errands. I love the dual spare tires on the back. I can't say anything negative about this. I love the fact that they're running Cooper Discovery ATS light truck tires. So that's really nice. Regardless of how you feel about the Cooper brand or the Discovery ATS tires, it's a good tire for this application. I think most people will admit that. I like this really nice receiver back here. One of the things that's kind of interesting is you see a lot of kind of welding slag on some of this. You know, I think they could have made this a little cleaner in terms of the overall construction, but you know, they're trying to go for that ruggedized look, but I do feel that some of this stuff could have been welded a little bit neater, just a little cleaner. Overall though, this has to be probably one of the most stout racks I've seen on the back of an RV. So you kind of change form for function, if that makes sense. You basically get something super, super heavy duty, nice thick pin, and you get the ability to carry heavy stuff back here with less of a concern of it failing, but you just have to deal with maybe some cosmetic issues with it. Coming around, love the LED lighting. All of this stuff looks really, really good whenever it's at night and you get to see this stuff turned on. I love the ability to remove this. I absolutely love, and let me get under here so I can show you how they strap stuff down and protect stuff here. Look at these rub rails right here. Underneath, look at the tank. I mean, all of this stuff is secured in a way that not just excels above stuff you typically see, but it completely destroys it. I mean, it blows away the typical frame construction you would see here in the States and what most manufacturers put on their units. This is absolutely amazing engineering and quality. Coming around, like all the LED lighting, I think I already mentioned that. The suspension on this thing is absolutely amazing. Again, I think most people would agree. This isn't an area where they skimped at all. The suspension on this trailer is above and beyond anything you would typically see here in the States on a travel trailer. You know, if you buy an Airstream roughly this size, you're going to pay about the same, if not more. You'll probably pay about 10 to 15 grand more than you would pay for this whenever you factor in the actual sale price versus MSRP, since Airstreams tend to sell closer to their MSRP than some type of heavily discounted trailer. These typically have a pretty good discount on them whenever you buy them. So even though they carry a very high MSRP, you tend to be able to get them at a much more affordable price. That being said, I would take this in places and not worry that I would absolutely have a heart attack if I took an Airstream. So, you know, that's a huge thing. You just have so much more protection. Things are strapped down and secured in a way that Airstreams don't do. You know, you have a suspension system on here that blows away anything in the US market, aside from a few other brands, maybe like Opus USA or a couple of them, but very Australian in design. It looks to be very high quality, and quite frankly, I don't see anything really wrong with it. It looks to be designed and executed on very well. And there's enough videos of these things going over crazy terrain to kind of quantify that. Again, looking around, I love the LED lighting. We have used the heck out of those. If you are on a dark beach at night, it is pitch black. I mean, I don't know if many of you have camped on the beach, but it is incredibly dark. And if you have cars kind of flying up and down the beach, the last thing you want to do is have one of them collide with you because your campsite isn't illuminated. These LED lights, these are off-road lights. These are the type of lights you'd put on the brush guard of a truck, and they're all the way around this unit. And there's actually two of them on the other side, and they really light up a huge swath around the RV, giving you a ton of visibility, not just for yourself and for whatever you're doing outside, but for people who may be driving in that same area. Basically just gives you a lot of safety in a very good lighting package, so I like that a lot. You have your outside shower here. I really wish that they would put one on the other side. I mean, I really, really, really wish they would do it. I would actually prefer that they put it on the other side rather than this side. Maybe put one of those little plug-in style hose connectors here or on the other side. But we take this out to the beach. We really want the means of spraying our feet off and not bringing the dirt inside or any of the sand inside, because it's very difficult to get out. Would have been nice with this tankless water heater if they put a black cover on it. You know, I think, or a red cover, but the white cover just doesn't blend very well. It's nice that it's on here and it works really well. We've used this several times now and it just works absolutely great. 30 amp connection, another one of the little luggage doors here. This is keyed the same as the other two on the other side, so that's a good thing. So that's pretty much it from a pros and cons perspective. Let's hop on in so I can show you a little bit more. And again, I love that LED light up front and just the overall look. It would have been really nice if they used these same latches up here and just keyed all of this. But I think they did these unkeyed just so you could quickly get to things and swap it out. But again, it would have been nice if they put a key here. If I bought this unit, I would probably put a little flip down latch so I can at least put a padlock to lock these up. That would be my preferred method in lieu of having, you know, the types of locks that are on the rest of the door. One other thing I wanted to point out about this hitch that I think could actually be done a little better. I wish this bolt that goes through the top of the Black Series portion and into the ball mount portion right here had a hole in the bottom that you put a pin through. Mainly because we've taken this out several times now, and every time I come back, I tighten this up a little bit, which means the little bit of movement right here back and forth will slowly start to loosen this bolt. So you do need to make sure you check this often, but more importantly, you want to make sure that you don't ever lose this bolt. And it would be great if they put a small hole right here, at least to put a pin in the event this does come loose. You don't have to worry about this ever coming off of your ball mount. I haven't heard of that happening, but this would just be a really good safety precaution, similar to how they have the pin here at the bottom of this piece, even though it's not threaded. Yeah, overall, really cool trailer. Really like it. A lot to like about it. Anyways, we're gonna take it out again. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.